Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bonfire Racing League Bonfire Premier Cup at Kentucky for the season opener. I'm going to be your commentator today, Jared Kelly. As always, we're going to have an exciting show for you as we are in qualifying right now. See, we got David Beal on the camera here, so let's go over to the race view. Eventually, we should start seeing maybe some drivers up to the top board, because right now we've got David Brenner. Or now it's Nick Mills up to the top of the board. Everything's being a little wonky right now. Let's see if I can fix that. I think it's just going to be playing weird right now. But we got David Beal, as I didn't mean to freaking click that button. I had to reload the timetable. There we go. As Trading Paints is going to be funky here. There we go. Now we got him. We got it all sorted out. So we're watching David Beal here for qualifying. And the interesting thing about qualifying, it does not set the order for the actual race. We got two heat races coming up. Both, I believe, are 15 laps apiece, and that will set up your inside and outside row. So qualifying just starts you for your heat race, just a little dirt racing style, setting up heat races. So as we are on board here with David Beal, he's right now in that 10th spot. Yeah, other guys that have gone out for qualifying. Joseph Amato jumps up to the 6th position. Now we jump over to Kyle Lanat, who's going in for his final lap. Right now, Kyle Lanat is the 11th quickest. Ryan Twynham jumps up to the 6th position, but through 3 and 4, Kyle Lanat. Let's going to see if he can improve his time. Cross the line. Up to 3rd for Kyle Lanat. On to David Owens now. Getting ready for his first flyer. And Johnny Barker as well, newcomer in the 967. Ticker works now. There we go. He's in that middle lane. David Owens trying to see if he can improve, carry that momentum. Cross start finish line for his first time. It's up to 6. We jump over to Johnny Barker there. Downshifting through 1 and 2. See if that helps him a bit. Right now he's sitting in the 14th spot. Gonna try and hold the bottom. Out of turn 4 to the tri-oval. Can he improve? No, he does not. He will stay in the 14th as David Owens goes to the pole position. 38.48. That beats out Dave Medina, so he will be your pole leader for heat race number 1. David Medina going to lead him to green in heat race number 2. I think you guys are getting the gist of how all this stuff shakes out. So I start sending links to different places, try and get us some more viewership. And we got Kevin Kyle, one of the last guys to go out for qualifying in number 1. Usually we see a Ross Chastain paint scheme, but looks like he's changing it up with a space scheme. Kevin Kyle going for his first lap. Jack Duval also down pit road. He's gonna get warmed up here to go out. And we also got Chris Morrill there. 20 drivers on deck for today's race, so it should be at least 10 for per heat race. Kevin Kyle using that top lane and trying to get all. Oh, he gets into the wall. That's going to slow down his momentum and give him an incident point for contact with 0x. But he's not going to cross the start finish line. He's going to redo that lap. So we'll hop over to Jax Duval for his first time. Two and a half minutes remaining in qualifying. Then we go on to our first heat races. At the moment, David Owen's going to lead them to green with Buddy Sally on his outside. Joseph Volpis and David Buell in the second row. First lap for Jax at the 31.26. That puts him 17th. Not what he wants to see. Try and get a second lap here. Coming out of turn number 4, down to the tri-oval. Can he improve? Up to 12th. It's 30.74. As I'm gonna get rid of that. Turn off the radios. And it does look like Kevin Kyle has abandoned his qualifying run, probably got up into the fence. But we do have Justin Malarkey in the 73. As he sits on pit road, I'm not sure if he'll have enough time to get one lap in. Better go now if he wants to. I think he's going to give up on that qualifying run because he does have a minute left, and I don't think he can get it since the laps were in the mid-30 range. So I believe he's going to go out for a lap anyways. He's going to try and get her done. So we will sit on board with y'all. That's going to do it for qualifying. Now, I believe it's up to heat races. Or they're going to put everybody in for this heat race. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, it looks like everybody's part of this heat race. So we'll get a 15 lap shootout for the start to actually determine your field. Well, it looks like a screw up on the race setup. But I believe we have all our drivers. So David Owen's going to lead them to green here for the 15-lap warm-up to improve your position for the feature. See who's got the pace to hold on for 15 laps. Guy we haven't seen a lot last season, the 21 of Buddy Sally. I believe he had some prioritized work that he had to do, so he wasn't able to race a lot last season. Luckily, we got him back here for the season opener for season 11. Ryan Twynham in the number 8 Green Mean Urban Wheat Ale Machine for Goose Island Ranch, or breweries. It's going to be starting there in the 8th position. Not sure what's going on with Ryan, but he is not on pace to start. Brandon Shelton in the number 2. With the little piggy on the rear bumper, great to see that. And newcomers, Johnny Barker in the 967 and Craig Hawkins there in the 977. Saw him in the recruitment race last week. But it's all going to be David Owens, who's going to be starting on pole here, going to lead us to green. Pace car dips down onto pit road. And this is the moment we've been waiting for the last few weeks. It's the season opener. The Bonfire Premier Cup season is going to be underway when they reach the Geico restart zone. Bonnie, the flagman, will wave the green flag up in the air. And let's see who can improve their qualifying position for the feature as David Owens gets a good jump into turn number 1. Buddy Sally's going to take that second position, going to slide up in front of... Oh, and we might have a red Joe Vulpes going around for a spin. That's going to collect the field. So let's go back and look to see how that all took place. Joe just got loose in the starting laps and just started going for a ride. A lot of cars involved there. Dennis Puckett off track as well. He's backwards. Look at that car is just crushed. 967 involved. That's Johnny Barker. We were just talking how he's new to the league. Brandon Shelton was involved there as well with some damage. As these guys are not going to be able to improve their qualifying spots with the damage. See a lot of guys, David Brenner, Jax Duvall, Dennis Puckett. Joe Vulpes also. He's missing the front bumper of that car. But Buddy Sally was able to somehow take the lead, it looks like. So we do have guys that are in pit road. Does look like the field's set to go racing, but it'll be one to go next time by. So all those involved, I believe Craig Hawkins, Joe Vulpes, Brandon Shelton, David Brenner, Jax Duvall, Kevin Kyle, Dennis Puckett, and Johnny Barker, all involved in that crash. But the pace car lights are off, so we will go back racing here at the Kentucky Motor Speedway. Let's see if I can... So it's going to be Buddy Sally who's going to lead the field to green here, with David Medina continuing to stay on that second spot. Not sure how David Owens lost that lead, but he did. But Buddy Sally's going to take him to the Geico restart zone. And he's going to take off. Green flag back up in the air. We're racing again here in Kentucky. That inside line got a great jump. David Owens right on the rear bumper of Buddy Sally, with Nick Mills taking that third spot. Kyle Lynott on the inside of David Medina. We almost make it. Oh, we did not. It's Joe Amato. So we cannot make it out of turn 2. Let's see how... We saw David Owens in the wall, but it all started with Joe Amato through turns 1 and 2. He got loose as well and just came right up into the 44 of Paul Ferdiani. And Brandon Shelton just can't get away from the carnage. So that is some more race cars torn up here at the start of this race. David Owens got into the wall on the exit of turn number 2. But you can see all those cars still down pit road. Your top 9 not involved in an incident quite this early, I believe. But he sadly blinks off a little bit. That goes all the way back to Thomas Fox, who's having a clean run here. And the number 57 Ford Mustang Miller Beverages car. As Ryan Twynham, who was sliding in that wreck, doesn't look too damaged. Might just have a little scrapes or maybe a pushed in rear bumper, not really too sure. You can see a little bit of damage there on the right rear quarter panel, and the left rear. So some minor damage there for the 8 car. But David Owens, who started on pole, just can't catch a break. He gets tight out of turn number 2, so there must be something going on in turn 2. Maybe the grip's just not right there, or it's not what they thought it felt like. At the moment, 17 cars out of this race, or not 17, my bad. 17th on back out of this race. Their repairs are still ongoing. And if iRacing detects they can't fix all the damage or the required damage before the end of the race, they'll tell you that you are done. So those drivers might be done for this heat race. Somebody who's been moving up, Nick Mills, 4 spots up from where he started. Run good on the outside row with his teammate to the inside. They're going to lock out that front row for, I believe it's Red Line Motorsports, it is. Looks like David Brenner, who was one of those guys that got taken out early. He's got that car fixed up. He's going to be back in this race, so he will be 5 laps down. Brandon Shelton, another one of those cars that was involved in both those incidents. We saw him sliding. He's going to come back down pit road and maybe try and get some more stuff repaired and get back out there. And right behind him, I believe that was not Craig Hawkins. I don't know who that was, but so there is your top 5. Doesn't look as good as I thought it was going to say, so we'll get rid of that. I wonder what the block scroll is. I'm going to learn what all these... Pretty neat. Top 7. We'll just stick with the scroll as pace car lights are off. And they're going to go back racing with 6 to go. The sun's going down here in the Quaker State. I believe the Quaker State, that's actually Pennsylvania. I was just reading the billboard on the side and what's on the walls. Should know better. Swear I graduated, or I passed elementary school. You may not believe it, but I did. We are going to go back underway as we have 15 cars on track, so 6 cars not out on track. Should allow David Brenner to maybe move up to the 15th position. But pace car down on pit road. We're going to try again, see if we can survive turn 2, and maybe get a full lap of racing in today. Buddy Sally takes off. We've got a huge gap in front of Nick Mills and David Medina there, who are fighting for that 2nd position. So far, so good. As Kyle Lynott was up near the fence, we saw a little bit of smoke coming off of the 988, but we did make it through turn 2, so all is going well, and we're going to get a full lap of racing in. As Craig Hawkins is down pit road. It's Kyle Lynott trying to work. Oh, Dave Medina, I thought he got into the... Oh, did he get into the... Yes, he got into the back of Nick Mills. Will that be a yellow? We stay green. Not sure what all that was about. See what happened there. I think it was just those 3 racing pretty hard. Kyle Lynott getting into the back of Dave Medina, and Medina getting to the back of Mills, from what I see at the moment. This is to start feature. It's going to be 3 to go at the line. Buddy Sally's still up front. About an 8/10 of a gap lead. David Owens working on the outside of Dave Medina here in turns 1 and 2. David Owens shoots to the outside of his teammate in the 988, Kyle Lynott. Gonna hope it sticks, and he's gonna get maybe some momentum here down the front straightaway. Was David Owens there at the line? Try and get him here through turns 1 and 2. And he does. Now it's on to David Medina as Justin Malarkey into the outside wall there. But it's all Buddy Sally up front as he goes through turns 1 and 2. He is going to get the white flag this time by. I don't think it's going to be anything for David Owens to try and catch up and capitalize, so... Let's see if David Medina has anything for David Owens. They're separated only by a tenth and a half. And it's going to get done. It's going to have to happen through 3 and 4. But smooth sailing for Buddy Sally. Buddy Sally going to start on pole here for the feature at Kentucky Motor Speedway. A lot of those drivers happy this race is finally over, especially those further in the back. They're working on their backup cars right now, hopefully to get out to the start of the race here. I believe that's going to be it. That's going to put Buddy Sally on pole. See if I can see the grid here. Yeah, so this is going to be for your feature race. Buddy Sally and David Owens on that front row, followed by David Medina and Kyle Lynott in the second. Justin Malarkey and David Buell running out that third row with Ryan Twynham and newcomer Brock Hawkins in the 8th position. Nick Mills and Tommy Fox, they're filing out your 5th row, followed by Joe Volpis and Chris Smorrell, who had damaged race cars there. And that heat race is going to be in the 6th row. Brandon Shelton and Craig Hawkins going to round out your 7th row. David Brenner, Paul Ferdiani going to be in that 8th row. Joseph Amato and Jack Duvall going to be in that 9th row. And Johnny Barker and Dennis Puckett going to round out that 10th row with, I believe, Kevin Kyle. Showing Kevin Kyle going to be in that 19th spot and Dennis Puckett going to be in that final 21st spot. Joseph Amato and Paul Ferdiani jumped into the pits, so they might be starting from pit lane here for the start of the race, which after that heat race, I don't blame them. So we're on board with our drone cam, Buddy Sally, on the start of this race. And the start's going to be on Barney the Flagman, so it's going to be an equal start for the front row and on back. This pace car dips down on pit road. It's going to be all Buddy Sally and David Owens on your front row. And they're in the Geico restart zone. Green flag up in the air. We're racing in the feature for all the marbles. As David Owens did not get a good start there. It's all Buddy Sally. But he's got some company on the inside. That's David Medina. He wants that bonus point for leading the lap, and I think Buddy might give it to him. David Medina, now your leader. 165 lap race, so this will be a long one. I believe that's Nick Mills and Justin Malarkey going at each other there for the 6th position. So if you got any more battling throughout the field, it looks like Brock Hawkins and David Brenner there for the 9th position. They're double file with Brandon Shelton and Chris Morrill there to round out your top 10. David Brenner trying to look to the top side, see if he can put Joe Volpes in the 07 3 wide. As they are going to go 3 wide, Brock backs out of it. That's going to open up the door for Chris Morrill on the inside. Don't squeeze him too hard. As Brock is now moving backwards as he blinks a little bit there. Probably some chatter over the radio about that. Justin Malarkey out to that top lane. Further up. He's probably going to start trying to save some tires. As David Brenner's moving his way up. He's now fighting with, I believe that's Joe Volpes there for the 7th spot. Right now, your biggest mover is the 12 of Dennis Puckett, up 9 spots from where he started. So it got tight there going into 1-2, almost got into Justin Malarkey. But your top 5 spreading out a gap from David Owens and Nick Mills. About a second separates those two. The two that started from the pit lane, Paul Fernandi and Joe Volpes, they are, I believe, it's about 15 seconds behind the leader. I could say almost 15 seconds in front of the leader. Well, they are going to try. They've got a long road ahead if they're going to try and stay on the lead lap. They've got some distance behind them, but as Paul got up to the wall there out of turn number 2, that's definitely not going to help his chances here of staying on the lead lap. David Brenner doing the fastest lap of the race at 30.55. We didn't know we liked that number. Brandon Shelton's going to give it a little bit of a shove to the 22. As Chris Morrill crawls in onto number 2 car. But right now, this is your fight on track. As Dave Medina and Kyle Anott up front have separated themselves from David Beal and Buddy Sally. Those two about 7/10 in front of David Beal, who runs second. Buddy Sally falling back from the pole, along with David Owens, your 2 on the front row, probably saving their tires early here, and hope to get them near the end of the race. But that is throwing them back into this horde of cars back here between Nick Mills and Joe Volpes and all that are behind them. Oh, as Nick got loose there. He's going to slide. Can he hold it? He doesn't hit anybody, but that's going to be a yellow for Nick Mills. Luckily, nobody hits him. But that is going to be a break for Joe Amato and Paul Ferdiani, who were falling a little bit behind there at the start of the race. It's right on board with Nick as see what happened. He was right on the bottom, and there was just in the same spot, got loose and just wasn't able to hold it. Luckily, everybody gets out of the way. He's in the middle of the racetrack, so multiple lanes to get around. But 13 laps in, almost the distance of those heat races. We stayed green, but it's going to have some differing strategy. Maybe some people taking fuel, get an extra 13 laps of fuel for a stint. Not sure what the fuel mileage is here. But we're going to see if we have any takers that are going to come down pit road. It looks like Kyle Lynott stays out. Fuel along with them. It's just Dave Medina, Chris Morrill, Brandon Shelton, and Justin Malarkey. So it looks like the FOCM crew coming down pit road, and the guys in the back also going to come down pit road. So split field here on strategy. Top 10 stay out. Back 11 go in. It looks like a lot of them are doing fuel only. 6-second stops. Craig Hawkins, your first, do 7 seconds, and Nick Mills doing 8. Big cars going maybe to top off. Jackson Wall, Paul Ferdiani, and Nick Mills all going to maybe top off with some fuel. As the pace car lights are off, so it is going to be Kyle Lynott and David Buell. Kyle Lynott opting to the outside row, put him in front of his teammate David Owens for maybe a little bit of a shove with David Brenner there too. So Joe Volpe is missing out on the party, stuck on that inside line. We'll ride on board with David Owens. If I can find the camera for it. I believe it's going to be right front. There it is. As Kyle Lynott goes into the Geico restart zone, he takes off. A great start from David Owens. Enough to clear the inside for him. Maybe not. I think David Buell's still there. There he is in the rear view. We see him now. As we do have a yellow, not sure what for. It's further back. I believe it was Johnny Barker. Oh, as Kevin Kyle is involved in that one as well. Not sure what caused Johnny Barker to spin out like that. We might try and go back and rewind a little bit. Oh, was it some help from Dennis Puckett? Yes, it was. Dennis Puckett getting into the rear of Johnny Barker there. Kevin Kyle just nowhere to go. Not able to avoid. Well, that's our second yellow there. You're on lap 17. I believe it was lap 16 when the crash happened, so. So we have some fakers on pit road. It's Thomas Fox, Justin Malarkey, and Craig Hawkins down pit road, along with everybody behind Brock Hawkins. Go to the fan camera. Take a quick little break as this caution's going to proceed itself. I'm going to grab a drink. Doing all this talking and just make my throat a little dry, so I'll be right back. All right, I am back from my short little drink break. And the pace car lights are off, I see that. So Kyle Lanott's going to opt for the outside row again, putting him in front of David Brenner and Joe Volpes. So Joe now finally in on the party. David Owens on that front row, so he'll probably get a countdown as well. So these four should just take off from the field at the start. Joe Amato still down pit road for those repairs. I believe at the moment, pace cars probably led more laps than anybody else in this field. But Kyle Lanott's going to lead him to green to the Geico restart zone as David Buell gives a little bump to David Owens. Green flag back up in the air. Kyle Lanott with a great jump. Field makes it through turns 2, all right. See Thomas Fox up there in the 57 on that very high lane. Boy with David Medina. Hawking's down pit road. Probably not happy with the damage to his car at the moment. Yeah, he's just sitting there down pit road, probably waiting on some damage. David Owens doing the fastest lap of the race at 30.46. So he takes the lead of the race. As we go and try and find some battles here. Field looks pretty single file. Just a freight train right now, as we did see Dennis Puckett get up to the wall behind Justin Malarkey. Just a little scrape as he's going to try and go to the outside. That's Chris Morrill making the pass on Paul Ferdiani in the 44. He's going to force Paul to be on the outside lane. He's going to get freight trained by all these cars. Maybe a little bit of damage is also helping within that. He was involved in that last time around. As David Brenner slots into that second spot, chasing David Owens. So now your top 7 look like they're starting to get pretty racy now. Brock Hawkins in the 870 up in this fight right now. Good run for the newcomer in the 870. Dennis Puckett still behind Justin Malarkey there for that 13th, 12th position. These guys try and save their stuff. They'll eventually catch up, pass the leaders if they do get green flag pit stops in. Big if on green flag pit stops. David Brenner closing that gap up to David Owens. David Owens going to that top lane. Buddy Sally waiting in the wings for Kyle Lynott and Joe Volpus to get settled out. Who's going to lead those two? Buddy Sally now working his way up into the top 4. Just gotta pass Kyle not to do it. Paul Fernandez actually closing in on Dennis Puckett. Dennis Puckett probably had a mistake there. I don't want to say probably as a bad thing. I'm just assuming. Joe Amato is going to come out of pit road 16 laps down. He's going to try and hope for some more carnage, maybe to pass a few cars on the racetrack that are too broken. It's, oh, not sure who that was. Johnny Barker, I believe, got really loose off the front bumper of the 84, I believe. Able to hold on to it. Saw that in the background. Was that David Owens up into the fence? Saw some smoke up front when we switched the cameras. I wasn't quite too sure who it was. But Buddy Sally going for the inside move on Kyle and I. Going to allow Brock Hawkins maybe to follow him. 870. But here comes Dave Medina in the 9. And FOCM right behind him. Seem pretty good about saving their tires. A lot of wins come from the FOCM team. Kyle not maybe losing some grip on that right front. You can see him, he starts plowing tight. Dave Medina just able to hold it to the bottom, get to the inside. And this should be an easy pass for the 9 car. On those FOCM cars, Kevin Kyle closing in on Johnny Barker. It's for your 17th position. Saw that front bumper was broken off there from that first crash, or that last crash we had. Able to get it fixed up and back on. Brandon Schupp now working on Kyle and I. See where the run takes him. He's going to hope to generate a run here out of turn number 2. He gets to the inside. Will Nick Mills follow? No, Nick just stays behind. They might follow him once the door's opened. That's Kyle and I. We heard him shifting there. You're modulating the throttle. We know that car's tight. So Nick Mills now gets to the inside of the 2. Down to 4th gear. We see it right there on the digital dash. Nick Mills and Brandon Shelton going at each other. Both trying to find a way around the 988. So we see the 870, Brock Hawkins up front, switching lanes quickly. Don't know if he was just trying to get into the hole behind Joe Vulpes, but forced Dave Medina to go through to the inside. Brock Hawkins disappears there for a second. As they split them 3 wide around Kyle Lynott back there. David Buell, Brandon Shelton, and Nick Mills. All 3 able to pass out of turn number 2. Buddy Sally now working on David Brenner. Those guys are 2.5 seconds behind David Owens. David Brenner not the guy that's going to let you pass easily. Dave Medina's hoping to get around these guys as quickly as possible. Medina goes to the top side to get around Buddy Sally quickly. So does Brock Hawkins. Brock just following the group. When the door opens, he's there to help himself in. That's going to leave him onto the outside of Buddy Sally. Paul Ferdinand slowly closing in on Jack Zubal in the 84. He's got Chris Morrill behind him as well. These guys 7.5 seconds behind David Owens, 4 seconds behind David Brenner. As Johnny Barker's down pit road. Not sure if this is for fuel and tires. I think it might be a little too early, but David Medina going to the inside of David Brenner. David Brenner trying to hold him tight. They rub doors a little bit. It's all right there. Little contact. Love to see it. David Brenner's going to be able to hold on to that spot. David Medina dives it down into turn 1 and 2, trying to carry the momentum out of 2. David Brenner got tight there, you saw it, had to lift. Now, second place goes to David Medina. Now he can start working on catching David Owens. And you see, once he got in front of David Medina, or David Brenner, he is starting to close in on David Owens. So, new tires helping as Kyle Lynott's down pit road. Here on lap 48. One of the cars that stayed out there. So we could be seeing some green flag pit stops here for the ones that stayed out. That includes David Brenner, Buddy Sally, David Buell, Brock Hawkins, and Joe Vulpes. As Nick Mills now on the inside of David Brenner. Joe Vulpes down pit road for his service. 4 tires and fuel. gonna be interesting once we get the fuel number for these guys that pitted on lap 17 after that yellow. Dave Medina was one of them. See what their fuel mileage is. Brandon Shelton above David Beal in the 52. Those guys are going to come down pit road, all three of them. 4, I should say. And this is when we start seeing mistakes happen coming down pit road, speeding down pit road. So you gotta be perfect here. It's a long race, and the last thing you want to do is be sitting a lap down for this long of a race. Now we're David Owens down pit road, so here is your leader, David Medina. Look for maybe 12 more laps. See if Medina comes down pit road. He's got Nick Mills 4/10 behind. We're going to see what tire saving these guys have done. David Owens, that first car, 1 lap down. See where he's at on track. Just going into turn 3, so got some distance to make up if he wants to try and get a lap back. About 10 seconds is what he's gonna have to make up. Luckily, tire fall off's about 1 second per lap from old and new tires. As Nick Mills slowly gaining on the 9. Further back, Chris Morrill and Ryan Twynham are going at each other. Tommy Fox waiting in the wings. There's going to be some traffic David Owens have to go through to try and get his lap back. This could halt the progression of David Owens. Last lap he ran was a 38.9. That's about half a second slower than what the leaders are running as Chris Morrill tapped into the fence. David Owens going to bob and weave his way through this traffic, trying to lose as much time as possible. But he gets around him. Justin Malarkey and I believe that's Kevin Kyle there. Those two fighting it out for, at the moment, what is the 5th position. Kevin Kyle going to the outside of his teammate. Kevin Kyle going to start working on Jax Dugall. Gap up front is still around 0.2 of a second between Dave Medina and Nick Mills. Track's going to start cooling off. Sun's down. Probably going to lay some rubber down. Joe Vulpes is closing in on David Owens. Maybe because of the lap traffic, David Owens is in, but this is a race for the lead after the leaders go down pit road. These guys will cycle back up front, or at least they hope they do. But Joe Vulpes about 8 tenths behind David Owens. Jax blocks his teammate. That's not going to make David happy at all. It's going to close up the gap to Joe to around 3 tenths of a second. Brandon Shelton's going to go down pit road. That gap increases between Joe and David. Joe being held by some traffic there as well. Gap's back to about a second. Jackson Vaughn, Kevin Kyle trading spots there. They're going to be racing side by side. Here comes David Brenner into the back of Kevin Kyle. Kevin Kyle going to come down pit road, but can he get it woed down? Looks like he does. Not sure if that was him trying to go down pit road or not. Let's see what Dave Medina and Nick Mills do. Is it their time to come down pit road? Dave Medina going to come down pit road, so that's going to leave Nick Mills to stay out, and he's going to get a bonus point for leading the lap. As Dennis Puckett also down pit road, he was shortly lapped before Dave Medina going down pit road. About 46 seconds is how many seconds you lose down pit road, so it's gonna put, I believe, Dave Medina, he's still in front of, I think it's still showing me in front of David Owens. As he finally gets put a lap down. Dave Medina coming out and around the 11th position. Nick Mills stays out. So remember that fight between Joe Vulpes and David Owens? Well, that gap's now down to 4 tenths of a second. Can't really tell who's been pushing and who hasn't been pushing. David Owens has been doing the muscle work by going through lap traffic. Dave Medina up to the 9th position. So here's Nick Mills. I think he's finally coming down pit road as David Owens finally passes him for the lead. But they'll have to complete another lap. There is Joseph Amato. He's 15 laps down. He still has to make his pit stop. Along with Craig Hawkins in the 877. Looking at the times, David Owens ran 3 tenths quicker than Joe Vulpes that last time around. let's go back. Nick Mills and Dave Medina. Dave Medina just passed Nick Mills there as Nick's getting up to speed. Exactly what Dave Medina wants to see. He's gonna put it around 1 second and 7/10 time between them, but Nick Mills should be faster. He stayed out a lot longer than Dave Medina did. Around 3 laps was that difference. "47 laps looks to be the fuel run. So around lap 97 is when we're going to see David Owens go down pit road. Brock Hawkins and I believe that's David Brenner racing each other with Buddy Sally sitting there behind him. Alan Ott's back there too, but I don't think he's quite in the draft like he wants to be. As I drop my phone. Chris Morrill and Paul Ferdiani racing side by side with Ryan Twynham behind them. As Thomas Fox gets put a lap down. Or maybe he's fighting to get his lap back, actually. And you can see some damage on the left or the right front of David Owens' car. Would that be some leftover damage? Or maybe him getting up into the fence, possibly. David Buell out of New Orleans. Watching this battle for the 3rd spot in front of him. Wants to get involved himself. These guys are sitting 4 seconds behind the lead. Still a lot of stops left as I'm looking at my calculator. So everybody's, unless they start saving fuel, which Nick Mills is in the prime spot 2, he's only got to save 4 laps, which is still a large mountain to climb, but I think it is possible from what we saw at Chicagoland in the recruitment race. But definitely Nick Mills maybe hoping for a yellow to kind of help him save that fuel. As we see, I believe that's Brock Hawkins blinking, the 870. Dave Beal going to go to his inside. Joe Vulpes now starting to fall off from David Owens. Dave Medina closing into this group of 4. See him a little bit there off screen. Oh, that's David Buell up into the wall. Some hard contact for this 52. It's going to allow Dave Medina to close in rapidly. Dave Medina doing around maybe 4/10 of a lap quicker than David Owens. Doesn't want to get slowed down by this traffic either, but these guys are going to be racing him for position. It's going to be hard racing. David Buell goes to the bottom of Brock. Maybe Brock got tight, had to get out of the gas. Saw evasive maneuvers happening for the 52, but Dave Medina making the pass on Buddy Sally, now up to the 3rd spot. So now he's 1.8 behind Joe Vulpes there. At the back straightaway lane, separating 3rd through 1st. So I think I can pull up the track map here. So I'm playing with a different themes. Stick with that one. So the bubble with the green around it is who we're on. That's Dave Medina in the 9. You see his start finish line, and David Owens was going into turn 1 when Dave Medina was hitting the start finish line. Medina now 4 seconds behind David Owens. Not sure what's going on with Dennis Puckett's number and Thomas Fox's number. There it goes. It fixed itself, luckily. Love it when it fixes itself. See if we can find any battles. Jax Duval and Kevin Kyle are in the 9th and 10th. Jack's closing into the 1. Gap's now around the 10th. Jax goes to the inside and run down the hill, try and get some momentum out off the corner. That's going to put him side by side down the back straightaway and put Jax in a prime position going into turn 3 at the bottom. David Brenner catching up to Joe Volpes. Joe, I think, maybe running out of a little bit of tire on that right front. That's Brandon Shelton and Jess Malarkey also racing hard. Those two swapping positions as we switch over to them. Chris Morrill and Ryan Twynham side by side with Paul Ferniani with some pace behind them. Ryan's going to tuck in behind Chris, protect that position. Joe Volpes down pit road. Lap 91 a little bit early, but he's going to maybe try and do the undercut for that last stop. On his teammate David Owens, get out ahead, some extra tire life at the beginning, and maybe try and hold him off here at the end for that inaugural win for that 07. Dave Medina now 1.6 behind David Owens. Dina's going to want to take that lead before David Owens is forced to go down pit road. Give him a sign that he's doing the right thing, has the right strategy. David Owens going down pit road, so he's reacting to his teammate pitting. Maybe now Medina's going to try and run long. It's about lap 111. Either way, I don't think David Owens and Joseph Volpes will have enough to maybe make it to the end. I think they'll have to stop again. As Nick Mills, you heard him shutting off the car right there. Going into the corners. At least maybe going into turn number 1. He's catching his teammate. So as I look at it now, Joe Volpes will have to pit again around lap 137. Be just under 30 laps left to go in the race when he does. But with David Medina and where he is at on fuel, be about 111, then have to pit again. Be lap 158. So he'll be short on fuel with about 7 laps. I think Nick Mills knows the strategy he's in. knows what he has to do to try and hold on. Because if he can just extend his fuel mileage just a little bit, he might be able to be close to the end on fuel. But he's gonna have to go an extra 2 laps on this stint and be able to hold another extra 2 to make it to the end. So, looking at it, I have to go to about lap 116. It's about 18 laps from now. See if he can make it. So I go and try and look for some battles for position. I was too busy doing math. Closest one right now is between Ryan Twynham and Chris Smorrell. Those two about 6/10 away from each other. Not the closest battle on track right now. Look, Buddy Sally closing in on David Brenner just in front of him. But he's got Brandon Shelton that he's got to pass before he can get there. Right now, David Brenner added another car into that mix with Paul Ferdiani. Paul and Brandon are racing pretty tough against each other. So I try and find Brandon here. Paul going to that top lane. He's gonna allow Brandon to go for the pass, and Brandon Shelton right underneath. I thought was gonna be both of them. Ryan Twynham's got David Buell in front of him. Buell on new tires and Chris Morrell right in front of him. As Jax Duval is going to go down pit road for his service. Kyle coming down pit road. Get 4 tires and fuel. It's time, not getting a little bit of help from David Brenner in the rear. Chris Morrill also down pit road. About 4 more laps, we could see Dave Medina, our leader, coming down pit road. But he's just got clear track ahead of him. There's David Owens behind Dave Medina, gonna try and unlap himself. I believe that's Chris Morrill in front of them, who just came out of the pits. Two more laps for Dave Medina before his tank is rated empty. But it's going to be a long drive ahead for Dave Medina if he's going to try and win this race. Right now I'm keeping my eyes on Nick Mills, that fuel strategy that he's on. If he can just extend it by 2 laps, should be able to hold on and maybe get the win. That's now Tommy Fox down pit road. So we'll see if Dave Medina goes down this time or if it's the next time by. Looks like it might be this time. Yes. Lap 110, Dave Medina comes down pit road for his pit stop. That's going to allow Nick Mills to take over the lead. Looking about 3 more laps, see if Nick Mills can hold out. We know he's shutting the car off and saving fuel. Last time he did a 31.74. David Owens, who's trying to fight Nick Mills for this lead, did a 31 is flat. So we'll see where that puts him. Dave Medina coming out maybe in the 7th position. Keeping my eyes on Nick Mills. Just Malarkey and Ryan Twynham down pit road now. Nick Mills gonna keep going. So it's gonna be lap 13. So maybe is it this time or next time? Nick Mills should be coming down pit road. Maybe he'll keep going. Hear him not shifting, that's saving fuel. So he's gonna stay out and he's gonna keep going. Try Twynham is gonna come out pit road. That's Puckett 3 laps down. Craig Hawkins down pit road as well. A little bit there, I thought Nick Mills was maybe out of fuel. We hear him shut the car off coming through 3 and 4, I thought. But he's going to stay out for another lap. So right now, I think Nick Mills can hold on to maybe win this thing from just fuel saving, be a great way to start season 11 for the 88. Surpassing my calculations on when he would have to come in. Is now the time to come in. Lap 116, we see him down on the apron. Can't have any mistakes. He makes it down pit road. David Brenner 6/10 behind Dave Medina, but we know Dave Medina is on newer tires. But everybody else but Nick Mills, if he can hold on to it, keep that fuel good, maybe conserve the extra 2 laps. Should be good to make it to the end. Nick Mills now out of pit road. Maybe fall behind David Brenner here. Yeah, so Nick Mills gonna have to save 2 or 3 laps of fuel. Basically do the same thing he did that last run. We might get a winner here with Nick Mills. If not, David Owen sitting in prime position, 6 seconds over Joe Volpis. These guys have another fuel run to go. Dave Medina sitting 11 seconds behind. David Beal and Kyle Lynott. Beal going to try and go to the inside of Kyle Lynott. Kyle Lynott looks like, I think he pitted earlier than David Beal, so Beal's got some newer tires than Lynott. And then Brock Hawkins and Buddy Sally there, also racing for position. Buddy Sally having newer tires than Brock by 2 laps. So there goes David Brenner and David Beal, going to split him. Kyle Lynott 3 wide. We've seen him do that move before. David tag team is what I'm going to call it now. And David Brenner tried to pull a slide job on Buell, but got up into the fence. Buell to take the point for this 4th position. As Joe Volpis is starting to fall off on some pace with Thomas Fox in front of him, maybe some dirty air. It's going to allow Dave Medina to close up. He's sitting, I believe, 1.9 seconds back. Trying to make the pass on Johnny Barker. I'm going to take that 13th position. Brandon Shelton's going to try and shove the 44 ahead. Sneak right underneath them. Here's a mess of cars. Got Jack Duval up there, Brock Hawkins, Kyle Lynott, Buddy Sally. When we switched over, it looked like a mess, but they're starting to get organized. And Kyle also in the mix there. Now David Buell falling into the clutches of Jack Duvall in the 84. There's Kevin Kyle on the inside of Brock Hawkins. We saw them tight. I think a yellow right now would only help Nick Mills. Or actually, it would help everybody. Everybody come down pit road and everybody would be good on fuel, I believe. David Buell way up high. We see him trying to get down to pit road. David Owens down pit road as well. He's gonna let Joe Volpus take the lead a lap. If a pit stop came out now, it'd be detrimental to David Owens' run for the win here. He'd be, at the moment, still on the lead lap, but once that lap goes down, the yellow comes out, it'd be really hard to rebound if he's sucked down pit road. If a yellow were to come out, I think it'd be from this group right here. Jack Duvall, Kevin Kyle, Buddy Sally. These guys really close together in line. All it takes is for one person to screw up. I believe that's David Owens now out of pit road. Oh, and he got into Jax. He got loose. Not sure what that all was about. We'll have to go back and see what happened. Oh, David came up and got into the 84. On new tires, not up to temp. That was major. Could have been something awful and ruined David's shot at the win. Dave Medina, I think, is now down pit road. Joe Volpus down pit road as well. As now Kevin Kyle racing side by side with David Owens. See how they race each other down into turn 3. Kevin giving him all the room. Realizes he's faster. Brock Hawkins down pit road with Paul Ferdiani. Dennis Puckett down as well. What does this mean for Nick Mills? We know he's saving fuel. Johnny Barker coming out of the pit road now. Dave Medina doing his fastest lap of the race. Right now sitting about 5 seconds behind David Owens. David Brenner and Kevin Kyle. Kevin Kyle trying to get that lead the lap bonus. He wants it. How much longer can he go on fuel? I think to about lap 52. But everybody changing up the strategies here. Some people going long, hoping to catch a yellow. Kevin Kyle taking the lead of this race, but David Brenner is not going to make it easy for him. David Brenner going to be side by side with Kevin Kyle right now. As Kevin clears him, he's going to lead this lap. Nick Mills 1.45 seconds behind this battle before he takes the lead of the race. David Owens 28 seconds behind this battle. Just Malarkey and Ryan Twynham and Joseph Amato in the mix there. He's the car that's sitting 16 or 17 laps down, I believe. As he blinks out, that's major when he's trying to pass guys on the lead lap. Tim and Kyle are going to come down pit road and give that lead back to Nick Mills. Now David Medina's got to try and get around both Nick Mills and Dave Brenner for that position to still be on the lead lap. It's not forced to go to the lucky dog and get the way around and start at the back of the field. Just making Dave Medina lose time to David Owens. Yeah, just under 5 seconds. David Brenner down pit road, but it is Justin Malarkey and Ryan Twynham, your closest battle on track. This guy's been fighting it out all race long. There's Brandon Shelton there, gonna be trying to pass these two. Ryan Twyman and Justin Malarkey sitting 19 seconds behind Nick Mills. That gap between Dave Medina and David Owens is still growing. I think Dave Medina might be trying to save his tires for a last charge. There's Buddy Sally on David Beal, racing for that 8th position at the moment. Four laps left to go in this race. I think it's going to be between David Owens and Nick Mills for the win. Say that, but the gap between David Medina and David Owens still 5.3. Still anybody's race. Ryan Twyman down pit road. Kyle Anott and Brock Hawkins racing side by side. Brock getting the position. Right, Twynham still down pit road. Justin Malarkey probably going to come in sometime soon. Joel Volpe sitting there in the 6th position. About 2 seconds behind Nick Mills from getting his lap back. Justin Malarkey and David Owens fight for position. Justin still having to make that final pit stop. As Justin gets into the wall pretty good there in turns 1. On Kevin Kyle. Kevin got newer tires than Kyle. Kyle has newer tires than Kyle. Tell which one I'm talking about. Kyle's the one with the newer tires. So he pitted there on lap 136. He should close in onto Brock Hawkins pretty soon. .17 to go left in the race. Last lap, Nick Mills did a 31.79. David Owens doing a 31.23, so it's about 5/10 the difference. So even if Nick Mills was losing a second per lap, he'd still be leading if he can hold it to the checkered flag. Just keep looking for battles. Dave Medina just made the pass on Justin Malarkey. Justin's still having to go down pit road near the end. He's still hoping for a yellow. I believe he's the only one on that strategy waiting for a yellow with Tommy Fox. Goes that he's hoping to have a yellow help them out. Dave Medina now 4.5 behind David Owens. Was a 10th quicker that last lap. David Buell catching up to Kevin Kyle and Brock Hawkins. That's for position number 8. Joe Volpis just made the pass on Justin Malarkey there for that 4th position. Or that 5th position, I'm sorry. Oh, it was for the 4th position. I was wrong again. Thomas Fox coming down pit road. So that's going to move people up the order. With about 10 laps left to go in this race. Nick Mills about 21 seconds in front of David Owens. I know he's trying to save as much fuel as possible. David Owens almost cracking even time-wise with him. Could the tires be going out for David Owens? Dave Medina just under 4 seconds behind him. And 0.3 quicker. Lap curve, maybe that's Craig Hawkins going to let Dave Medina go by, or maybe he's going to come down pit road. I think that's what that's going to be. Kevin Kyle slowly gaining on Buddy Sally there in the 21. Just in front of him is Justin Malarkey, who's also going to come down pit road. So this could be the fight to get into the top 5 for Kevin Kyle. Justin Malarkey lets him go. First I thought he was running out of fuel there. Right now Buddy Sally, that first car on the lead lap, or 1 lap down, but they're catching Nick Mills and catching him fast. So Kevin Kyle's going to take over that 5th position. With 6 laps left to go. Watching this battle continue with Buddy Sally and Kevin Kyle. I'm not sure if Buddy Sally's got anything left for Kevin. So go up to David Medina. The gap between him and David Owens sitting around 3.3. David Owens struggling. I think he got up into the wall. With 4 laps left to go. We are counting the laps down here. I think David Owens is just hoping Nick Mills runs out of fuel and Dave Medina doesn't get to him. Mills in the draft. I believe that's the 870 of Brock Hawkins. Maybe he can use that draft and maybe save him some fuel. Two laps left to go for Nick Mills. And I don't hear him shutting the car off through 1 and 2s. Does that mean he's good? Next time to the stripe will be the white flag. Dave Medina is sitting 3.6 behind David Owens, but it's going to be the white flag. 1 more to go for Nick Mills. Does he have enough fuel to make it to the end? Down the back straightaway. He looks like he's still got power. I'm nervous for him. Through 3 and 4 for the final time. It looks like he's got enough fuel to make it to the end. Nick Mills out of turn number 4. The Fuel Master, basically the Bonfire's version of Scott Dixon, wins the season opener at Kentucky. David Owens coming home in that second position. Was hoping maybe Nick Mills would run out of fuel. Followed home by David Medina, but Nick Mills just able to save. See, congratulations from David Brenner. I don't even know if Nick Mills has enough fuel for a burnout. We'll have to see. He's got enough to make it to the start-finish line. We might get a smoke show here. There it is from Nick Mills. Not sure how long we've got for this burnout, but he's going to make the most of it. Season champ after last season. Not back-to-back, but two-time champion here in the Bonfire Racing League. He's trying to get that brake bias figured out, but I think he might be out of fuel. I believe that's it from Nick Mills. We go to the results here. Nope, that's practice results. We don't want the practice results. We want the feature results. Nick Mills bringing it home 19 seconds ahead of David Owens and David Medina. Kevin Kyle bringing it to the 4th position. Joseph Vulpes in that 5th position, rounding out your top 5. Buddy Sally, Brock Hawkins, the newcomer in that 7th position. Great finish for the newcomer in the 870. David Beal, David Brenner, and Jackson Vaughn in your top 10. Kyle Knott, Chris Morrill, Brandon Shelton, Justin Malarkey, and Ryan Twinham in your top 15. Then it's Johnny Barker, Tommy Fox, Paul Ferdiani. See if I can go to the next page. I'm not sure if it will let me. I think it's just going to show that. I don't think there's anything to do, but I'll do it. I'll talk anyways. Craig Hawkins, Dennis Puckett, and Joseph Amato finishing 19th, 20th, and 21st. So I believe that is everything. Don't have anybody coming into the booth, so we're going to wrap it up here, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. It was a nail-biter to the finish as Nick Mills was able to save enough fuel for the end. So he's going to be leading the points here after race number 1. Pocono next Sunday. Not sure if I'll have enough time to broadcast it. I'll be on a flight back to Tallahassee. So we might get a stream in, we might not. But if I don't get you then, we'll definitely get you on week 3. I don't even know where week 3 is at, but we'll find out. Bonfire Big Trucking Tuesday on Tuesday night at Pocono. Should be another good race there from the trucks. But I'm going to be signing off here, so hope you guys enjoy your Sunday. Or if it's not Sunday, I hope you can enjoy the rest of your day. But signing off here, it's Jared the Showboat Kelly.